Welcome to the Business Spotlight series. My name is Kay Cote, and I'm your podcast host here in Central Texas. And today we have on the show Dean Brennan, CEO of Heart and Soil, as our guest. We're going to dive into the business he'll be talking about, as well as his journey into business, the challenges he's faced, best practices he's learned, and give you a sneak peek into what it's like to operate a business. If this is your first time on our channel, be sure to like and subscribe to get notifications when we drop episodes like this one. Well, welcome, Dean. It's so nice to have you here today.
Great to be here, and thanks for having me.
For sure. So I'd love to dive in. Let us know a little bit about you and the business.
Yeah, let's see. So I have a kind of a unique way into the CEO seat at a business. I was previously in creative marketing. I was a filmmaker, producer on the creative side, and I always had this vision of being an entrepreneur. My dad started a business out of our garage when I was a young kid, and my uncles, they all own businesses. So I kind of had that like embedded, I think, into my DNA at some level. And I always thought, hey, if I could somehow combine my passion for health and wellness. I had an autoimmune condition, ulcerative colitis, in my early 20s, like many people across the country do. And by hapstance, I was able to reverse it just using diet. Um, that's a whole story in and of itself. But so being a video producer, being in that world, I always wanted to combine my passion for health and wellness with kind of my business skill set and my creative skill set. And one day I met a pretty prominent influencer, Dr. Paul Saladino, in a sauna just by hapstance. And I was pretty plugged into the nutrition world at the time. And so I knew who he was. He was about to launch a business, Heart and Soil. And to make a long story short, I jumped in, worked for free for 3 months, mornings, nights, weekends, helped do a lot of the heavy lifting and solve a lot of problems in the early days of the business. And shortly after that, I was named CEO, and we've been going ever since. And so that was in July of 2020, middle of the pandemic when we launched, and we've been in business about 4 years.
What an incredible journey. It just shows like you never know who you're going to meet.
You never know. Yeah, sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, how the hell did this actually happen? And you in the beginning I got imposter syndrome a lot too, because I'm like, I got kind of the universe took care of me in this way. But if I really do think about it though, and I'm not sure exactly who's listening, but um, when I think about it, a lot of my actions through those years before that moment happened really put me there. I spent the large majority of my 20s taking courses, learning about leadership, learning about business. I was obsessed with it. And I never knew exactly how I was going to put those skills to use, but I knew eventually a time would come where I would be essentially called to do it. And just by hapstance, that's the way it happened. So if I wouldn't have put in those reps, I think throughout my 20s, I wouldn't have been able to be well positioned to be able to actually succeed and execute when I was put in that position.
Definitely. It sounds like you are what I like to call planting good seeds along the way.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
That is very cool. Well, I would love to dive into what your day to day looks like as CEO of the company, wearing many hats. What's a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, good question. I'll start by saying I didn't say it in the beginning. Many people probably haven't heard about Heart and Soil, but we're a supplement company, and we're a different kind of supplement company. So we're not in a lab creating synthetic supplements. We've gone essentially back to nature. Uh, Bovine cows have organs like liver. It's
Mhm.
extremely nutrient dense, and so we harvest bovine organs from regenerative farms, and we desiccate them and put them into a convenient capsule type format. So anyway, I wanted to get that out there so the audience knows actually like what we do, what we offer. But my day to day today is a lot different than it was in the beginning of the business. When you especially in our circumstance. So a lot of companies, when they start, they have to they have to produce the demand in some kind of way. They have to get in front of people. We had the luxury, it's a double-edged sword because there's challenges that come along with it, but our founder had built a pretty substantial audience at the time of launch. I don't remember the numbers, but it was like around 100,000 followers. He had a pretty engaged podcast. And I only mention that because I have folks that come up to me sometimes and they're like, how do I start a business like that? How do I get that massive organic growth in the beginning? And if you're not careful, you start the timeline at the launch of the business. But what really happened was 4 years previous to the start of the business, our founder earned attention and built an audience. And so, I think it's wise not to forget about that piece of it, because the business wouldn't have taken off like a rocket ship if that sweat equity wasn't put in. And that was 4 years of not getting paid, producing content daily. He put a lot of work and effort into kind of building the audience and the attention that we needed. So when we launched the product, it just took off. But to get back to my day to day, in the beginning, it was, you know, you're launching a company with a ton of people, thousands of people emailing you. You have zero systems. We had to create, my day to day was all over the place. I was in operations. I was in the finance realm. I was answering customer emails for about a year and a half, which was a really good thing, actually. And I highly recommend that to any founder or anybody starting a business, is like, get to know your customers, talk to them. You're going to learn a lot, especially in those beginning moments. So yeah, it was very chaotic in the beginning, wearing a lot of hats. And then now it's more looking forward, trying to solve problems before they occur, trying to really think about the long-term growth of the business. And so I'm looking ahead, sometimes a quarter, sometimes a year, sometimes 3 years. So I'm trying to balance that with the things that occur on a day-to-day basis. A lot of stuff on the people and talent side or HR side, a lot of stuff on the finance side. I think it was about a couple years in where that really, we had to switch accounting types from cash to accrual, I remember. And a lot of businesses have to face that at some point. And that took a lot of my attention for a while. So yeah, today it's a lot of forward thinking stuff and then a lot of reacting to the day to day.
Definitely. Well, thank you for sharing that, especially
Mhm.
the journey part. That is something that sometimes people miss that. Like they see the tip of the iceberg and they think, oh, instant success. How did they do it? But really, like the sweat equity in those years prior really were what created that foundation for what you have today. So that's really incredible to hear that part of the story.
Thank you. Yeah, it was really, really important.
Definitely. And kind of looking at your business now, you're selling these supplements and explain a little bit of how the supplements are. So if I were, say, your ideal client and I walked into your store or went to your online store, how would I know I'd be a good fit for you?
I love that question because, it's funny, as marketers, sometimes you want to say it's for everybody. And
hmm
that sometimes is a critical mistake because if you're trying to reach everybody, you don't reach anyone at all, generally. Um, for me, there's so many people in this country and in this world that have chronic disease. They have, type 2 diabetes is at an all-time rate, obesity, a lot of metabolic disorders, psoriasis, eczema, autoimmune stuff. I think almost everybody, if they don't experience it for themselves, know people in their life that are struggling with these issues. And the modern kind of medical system, it's really good at some things, but it doesn't seem to be very good at correcting these issues or like understanding what the underlying components are. So if I were to think of just like the best person for our supplements, I want to say everybody, because this foundational nutrition is our bodies are designed a certain way, and this in my opinion and experience is just foundational to the experience. But I would say, yeah, if you're somebody who has, you're not where you want to be from a health standpoint, and you've tried a few things and you're kind of frustrated with your progress, whether that's um, losing weight, getting stronger in the gym, or whether you have that lingering gut issue that you haven't been able to get rid of, I'd
Mhm.
say that's our ideal customer. And what's cool is the reason why I say we're a little more than a supplement company is we're research backed. We're founded by an MD. We have a whole health success team that works on the front lines, and we work with our customers to help provide guidance and kind of give them clarity, remove roadblocks in their journeys. And we're very proactive and active with our customers on that. So we're not just dropping a supplement on their doorstep and saying go. We're actually holding their hand in certain cases. We have a community of people uh, that kind of get involved and can help somebody along through their health journey.
Hmm. That really speaks to me personally too. I think that's huge, and especially in a market like that, you're setting yourself apart with
Mhm.
the backing and everything that you're building within the community scene as well.
Exactly. Yeah, I always say like, I mean, I can't speak for other companies, but for us, and it comes down to our hiring, there will be no team anywhere that cares more about the health of their customers than our team. And
Mm,
so much so that we won't hire somebody unless they actually live this lifestyle. And
mm,
many of our employees, I'd say probably 80% of them, had issues. Like I had ulcerative colitis. I was able to put it into remission through
mhm,
diet and lifestyle. That's most of our employees. And so we don't, we're not like the doctor that's telling you not to smoke and is over, behind, but, at the smoke break table smoking cigarettes.
yeah,
We're actually doing the thing, talking about the thing, researching the thing, and helping people as we each have our own journey.
definitely. Well, that kind of brings me into, you talked a little bit about your clientele, the business. I'd like to deep dive into your marketing strategies, especially, the previously built up platform. How have you integrated that platform into the supplements and selling the supplements?
Yeah, so I think our marketing strategy, one thing that's kind of cool coming into this business is that uh, I didn't have any experience in e-com coming into it. And that was actually our entire team. So our operations officer, our research officer, who was a physician assistant and researcher, like no one had experience in e-com. And I think that actually, at the time, I was a little intimidated by it. Like, oh my gosh, we have to do all of this right. But I have to remind myself sometimes that there's no rules. And the important thing for us is that we knew essentially why we existed. We're like, we're here to help people with their health. And so,
Mm,
how do we best do that? Um, and so, from a marketing standpoint, it's like, how do we reach the people that actually need help? That, are the people that tried three different things and nothing's working and they want an alternative and they're
mhm,
willing to kind of step outside their comfort zone a little bit and try something that to me isn't so weird. Like eating liver is kind of weird, I guess, in modern days. But if we look at human history, it's always been a part of our diet. So anyways, so what I guess what I'm saying from a marketing perspective is we were like, okay, let's start with CX. Let's start with the experience, our interactions with customers, the relationships we're building with them. So we started there, where a lot of companies would have been like, oh, let's work on our paid acquisition funnel. And like I said, we had that organic growth. So for me, the most important thing at the time was let's not do anything to slow that organic growth, but like let's really make sure that we're building a really good relationship with the customer. And when I think of brand and marketing, that touch point is like critically important, especially for a brand that, might position themselves as being a little more premium, or a brand that says like, oh, we care about your health or we care about this or that. I think
mhm,
where businesses run into trouble is when they say that they're one thing and then the experience is another thing. So
mhm.
you need to kind of close that gap, and what you're saying and what you're doing have to be in alignment. So we started there. Um, and then as far as the bringing customers in and reaching people, a lot of that, if we have that good experience and we have really good word of mouth, I think our
Hmm.
product also lends itself to word of mouth because it is so different. We have a product called Whole Package that has bull testicle in it, and it has naturally occurring testosterone. And
Hmm.
what a conversation starter if you're somebody who bought this whole package product and your friends come over. I mean, it's like the first thing that you want to talk about is like, check this crazy product out that I'm taking. And so I think our customers like to talk about it from that standpoint.
Hmm.
So word of mouth drives a ton of our growth. And our founder drives quite a bit of business our way as well.
Hmm.
And the other part of it is for us, we invested a lot in storytelling and organic content. So
Hmm.
we've produced a few films. We did a really cool collaboration with George St. Pierre, the prominent legend MMA fighter. That was really a really cool experience to work with him and launch a film that was valuable to his followers. And that in turn, I think, brought some of his audience and group into our ecosystem.
Hmm.
And then the last thing I'll say is like we have been working on the paid acquisition funnels, but I think we made a really good decision in the beginning not to invest all of our time and effort in that. Our thought
Hmm.
was, let's try to amplify this organic growth and build a really great experience, good relationships with our customers. Um, and then let's build the foundation for paid acquisition. And whenever we hit kind of this growth plateau with organic, then we can kind of step on the paid acquisition pedal a little bit. And so that's what we've been doing the last year.
Oh, very cool. I love the storytelling component, especially with a product that's very unique like that.
Mhm.
So I can imagine the buzz that kind of is circling within the health space, especially here in the Austin area. So that's super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I don't know. I know there's so many people out there struggling with their health, and it's like,
Hmm.
yeah, sure, an ad can get their attention, but I'm like, how on a deeper level can you inspire people to like
Yeah.
take action to, or just be curious in something else? Because I know that there's millions of people out there who like could benefit from our products, and we haven't even scratched the surface in terms of reaching them. And so part of that long-term thinking that I'm doing right now are like, what are some really big plays, some really big ideas on how to inspire more people? Because I think if we can inspire people and give them just a sliver of hope that something that there's something out there that they haven't tried yet that can help,
Hmm.
then I think we've just opened the doors up to kind of a new reality for people. And I'm excited about that.
Mm, definitely. Well, I'm super excited to see how it continues to grow as well, which is kind of goes perfectly into my next question, which is what do y'all have planned for the next 3 to 5 years with your business?
Good question. Next 3 to 5 years, there's a few things. I guess I can talk about most of it. We're doing some kind of R&D right now and looking at how to spread kind of a larger net on the top of funnel. And one person I've been really impressed by who does this very well in the financial realm is Dave Ramsey.
Mhm. Mm,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, Dave Ramsey is an interesting use case, and I've looked at his model before, and I see a lot of parallels between like personal finance and health.
Mhm.
Everybody knows you need to spend less than what you make, right? Everybody knows it's healthy to save money. Like these are very easy principled things that everyone knows, but like why do most people ignore it or not do it?
Mhm.
Um, I think the same thing applies to health in a lot of ways. Sure, it gets very nuanced and complicated, and it gets confusing because, like, one day the news is telling you eggs are good, and then the next day the news is telling you eggs are going to cause a heart attack, right?
Yeah.
So there's those things, but I think overall people can kind of understand, like, oh, I probably shouldn't be overeating. I probably shouldn't eat processed foods. I probably shouldn't drink a bunch of alcohol. I should probably sleep well. I should probably try to manage my stress, right?
Yeah.
Um, so a lot of things that I'm looking at the next 3 to 5 years are, can we build a media network of some sort like Dave Ramsey with his shows and podcasts to help arm people with the practical tools that they need to actually take control of their health and
Mm.
make it easy in quotation marks. most of the difficult things, to go back to what I just said, is most people don't do it, but they know what to do. They're psychological barriers.
Hmm.
And so I think as a business, we need to do more to speak to those psychological barriers and have a really good content kind of ecosystem to help people manage those types of things and work through them. It's interesting because it's not product related. It's more non-physical product related, but in our mission of like inspiring and guiding people to what we call radical health, it fits right in that. So I'm really excited about implementing more of that and more in-person experiences. I think as kind of we're getting into this place with AI, it's becoming more difficult to actually talk to people at the brands that you love. I think there's going to be a premium on in-person connection. And
Mm.
so I'm trying to go to I'm trying to leverage AI where it makes sense for
Mhm.
us, but I'm also trying to figure out, hey, over the long term, how can I capitalize on this? And not in a bad way, but like, how can we keep this human connection part like front and center for us? Because I think a lot of brands are going to go away from it, and it's going to be a differentiating factor for us. Even working in
Mm.
person and having the team here, I think kind of goes against the grain in where things are headed.
That is powerful. I really like that kind of like you're taking that different stance on that or like seeing what works best for you. So,
Yeah.
yeah, this has been an incredible conversation and before we kind of close out, I'd like to dive into some rapid fire questions.
Oh boy. All right. I'll do my best.
Oh, it's totally harmless and it's 4 questions and we'll ask you just answer top of mind first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
All
Perfect.
right. Awesome. Well, the first question is what is one piece of advice that you would have for other business owners?
Make decisions faster.
Definitely. And what is one piece of content or a book or something that you've taken in most recently?
I actually have the book right here. There's an excellent book for anybody looking into compensation philosophy
Hmm.
for their company. It's called Scaling Up Compensation by Vern Harnish. He also
Oh,
wrote Scaling Up, which is an excellent book. I'd say one thing I took from this is that everything from your people practices to your compensation philosophy um, should be aligned with like your cultural DNA and like who you are as a business. And so I took kind of that idea and came up with a benefit for our employees where a lot of companies will penalize, well, I guess not penalize, but they discourage PTO. And,
mm.
adventure is one of our core values. So I put a PTO policy in place where we bonus people actually for utilizing their PTO at the end of the year.
I love that. Can I work for you? I'm kidding.
Yeah. So if you utilize all your PTO, you get a
Yeah.
bonus. And because we want people to take their PTO, we want them to go spend time with their
Mm,
families, go on adventures. It's why it's there. It's earned, and so we reward people for utilizing it.
I love that work-life balance. That's perfectly in alignment with the wellness brand. So,
Yeah.
next question is, what is a key to success for you?
Key to success for me. Oh, that's a hard question. Probably kind of key to success for me is like realizing my potential. So similar to that brand gap thing, who I want to be in the future.
Mm,
I want to be married to my wife till the day I die. I don't want to look back and say that I didn't give it my all, that I kind of sandbagged it there. I just want to realize whatever it is that I have to offer over the course of my life. I want to look back and just think that I left it all on the court.
love that. And our final question is if you had to choose only one area of business you could rapidly improve overnight, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. What's interesting is I can think of a couple of things, but I actually would choose not to do that
Mhm.
because I believe that the issues that we have, like we need to go through the friction of solving it to
Mm.
get the learning lesson from it so we can improve in the future. So I don't think I would ever take a magic wand and just have something fixed without the learning lessons that come with it.
Wow. That is, I think, the honestly the best answer I've heard so far when I asked that question.
Oh,
So love that.
thank you. It's how
Yeah,
I feel.
that's amazing. Well, I really appreciate your time. And before we wrap up with our final question, how can folks find you?
They can find me on Twitter, Dean C. Brennan, Brennan. And our company is pretty easy to find. You can Google Heart and Soil. You can find us on Instagram, Heart and Soil Supplements. And so, yeah, check us out. Send me a DM. Always love connecting with other business owners, people in the space. Oh, like I said, I didn't have any experience in e-commerce business when I got into this, and I found so much value connecting with people in the community. And I've just found that most people are very willing to like have conversations, and so I'll extend that to anyone. I'm happy to offer value if I can. So DM me, reach out, happy to help.
Awesome. Thanks, Dean. Well, this has been a great conversation. For our final question of today, what is most inspiring to you today?
Today, today I'm just going to say the water because I've recently been spending a lot of time on the lake. I had a daughter in April of 2023, so
Oh,
she's 15 going on 16 months. And just nature and being out on the lake on the weekends has really inspired me.
oh, wonderful. Thank you, Dean, for your time. This has been an incredible recording.
All right. Appreciate it so much. This is fun.